Okay, so we'll do now the Mamer Shir Hamalos ממעמקיםLikutei. This is the sixth Mamer over here in the memorial for Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippurim. And this is a mostly Yom Kippur Mamer, as we'll see. I said Shemitzhuva actually. Shir Hamalos ממעמקיםLikutei Hashem. So this is the Perek of Tehillim, Shir Hamalos, the song of the steps that David and the Levim would sing. It is ממעמקים, from the depth I call out to you, Hashem. ממעמקיםLikutei Hashem. We say that in the Seres Yemei we say that Perek Tehillim. Before by Yishtabach over there we say Shir Hamalos. So he says what it means, ממעמקים. It doesn't mean only from the depth, but it means that he makes up uloshin she'oise oimek. That is a language that he makes it into a depth. He makes it ממעמקים, from the depths. Misham krasicha Hashem. And from there I call out to you, Hashem. So he makes the oimek. This is been instituted to say it during the Seres Yemei Tshuva. Now, in those days, they didn't have Google or other things, so the Alter Rebbe just shows all the places where this pasuk is brought down and explained in the Gemara. So he says, Gemara, Niskar, in the Gemara, it's mentioned, pasuk zeh, like this, in Perek Hama de Brachas, in the first Perek of Brachas, on Daf Yud Aleph or Mud Aleph, Perek Gimel de Tainis, in the third Perek of Mesachas Tainis, Chav Gimel Amud Beis, Uberabbis, that is the Medrash Rabbah. So over there it's the Seder Vayikra, Soy Parsha Gimel, Ubeshira Shirim Rabbah beParshas Ani Chavatzelas Hashorin, Ubekahelas Rabbah bePosik Shmoy Raglecha Kasher, and Zohar Chelik Beis Parshas B'Shalach Daf Samach Gimel Amud Beis u'Mikdash Melech Shom. The Zohar Parshas Vayikra in the Zohar Daf Chavov Amud Aleph, u'Parshas Acharei Daf Samach Tes Amud Aleph Daf Ayin Amud Beis, u'Parshas V'Schanon Daf Rei Samach Hei Amud Beis, u'Pirush Ramaz Shom, u'Parshas Vayichi Daf Reish Chof Aleph. Okay. Why do we say this? Seres Yemei Tshuva ממעמקיםLikutei Hashem. Why? Ki b'chol hashana ha'odam hoylech achar shrirus libay. All year, a person goes after the heart, wherever the heart pulls him. Shrirus libay. K'mo shekosuv. The pasuk says, "Ki ponu elai oiref." They turned their backs to me. That's all year. But in the 10 days of Tshuva, on every day and day, every one has been brought close, has come close to the blessed Hashem. This happens every day of a Seres Yemei Tshuva, you get closer. And you have been elevated every day more. Until Yom Kippur. And then the Nasin called Neshamas Yisrael Hashem Yisborech Ponim B'Ponim. So all the souls of Israel, of Yisrael, the Jewish souls, with the blessed Hashem become face to face. During the year, it's the back. Pono Elai Oiref. Seres Yemei Tshuva, we go face to face. Who? How is this accomplished? That is the will. Shall call Odom Lihizkarev El Hashem Yisbarach B'Bchinas Panim Chulu, because the will of every person is to become close to the blessed Hashem in a way of Panim Chulu, to face Hashem Panim Panim. Vayim Hashikosim is the Parshas Acharei b'Divra Maschil Kabayim Azeh Yechaper, uBesomach b'Divra Maschil Shuva Yisrael Ad ובדברי המסחל, לבאר עניין יום הכיפורים. הנה, צריך להבין עניין נשמת ישראל. Need to understand the idea, what is it Neshamas Yisrael? So it's the loy k'moshe sevrim ha'ilam. It's not like the people, the world thinks. Sha'neshama hirak ha'chayis v'aseichel shebetoich ha'odom. That the neshama, that's the energy, that's the intellect which is within the person. So by masik is Hashem Yisbarach. That he uses the seichel to understand the Eibishter. Kimoi, just like sichlim, that's what he says, right? Sichlim, that's the word. Sichlim acherim. To use. Seichel yud mem. Sichlim, yeah. Okay, before I looked it over, it was spelled not correctly. Not okay. I corrected. Sichlim acherim shemasig inyonim acherim, in which he grasps other matters. Says this. So when you grasp elokus, when you grasp godliness, that's the neshama. No. Vadai eine nikra neshamas Yisrael. That is for sure not what is called neshamas Yisrael. The fact, that part that you can grasp, that you can intellectually comprehend, that's not the soul. Because the soul is a part of Hashem above, which is higher than Sechel. So that's not what the neshama is. I'm a shekosuf binyan neshama bebiur apostle lesash bismelach in the Parshas Vayikra. What is the neshama? Shaneshama who bebeis bechinas. The neshama has the two levels. It is level of Yaakov and Yisrael. Of Yaakov and Yisrael. Nagdim lahavin Pirush, yeah, it's Pirush Peyud, yeah. Peyud that's what Basri. Lahavin Pirush Hashemayim Kisi va'oretz Adem Raglo. So we talk about two types of kisi, two types of seats. We have the Shemayim being the regular seat, kisi, and the Oretz is like the pedestal for my feet. That's like a chair for the feet. Mawa Doim Ragloi. What is the Mawa Doim Ragloi? Shehu, that is the Srafraf. That is the lower level, which is the pedestal. Rafraf, Srafraf. And the Shemaim Kisi, that is the upper level. So you have the upper level, you have the level of Shemayim, and you have the level of Hadem Ragloi. Both are places of his galus, but this is in a big way, Shemayim, and this is in a small way, in Hadem Ragloi. So this is what the truth is. Amalochim Elyonim oimdim tomid be'ema v'yira b'li shum machshava zora klal. The Malachim, Supreme Malachim, they are always constantly standing with the fear, the dread, the fear, without any other thought at all. Why? They always grasp godliness in a revealed way. But the earth is not revealed elokus. So that's like the Srafraf. You have the Shemayim and you have the Srafraf. But this is surprising that there should be, the Malachim should always be receiving godliness. And we, Ba'aretz, we don't get the godliness. But surprising, Shari Nemar, I didn't change. So how come Hashem doesn't change? Why would some be able to grasp and some not be able to grasp? The answer on this is there are two levels. There's the level of Sevim Kulalmin Umemalo Kulalmin. Bebechinas Sevim Kulalmin Ein Shum Shinui Koidem Abriya Ulachar Abriya. That in the level of Taka Sevim Kulalmin, there is no change, L'Shanisi, between before and after creation. And the whole Olamais, Elyonim Tachtonim B'Shaveh, in all worlds, the upper worlds, the lower worlds, it's equal. Before and after, it's all the same. Ki Eagle, it's like a circle. Shemis Agil Misabav Av Lamata, which circles and surrounds even below. It goes all around, the top and the bottom. V'hu, and that is the level of Ma'ilum in HaSeichel v'Hazman. It is beyond the intellect and time, which is Hoya Hoyve V'yeh B'rega Echad. He was, is, will be in one instant. It's not bound in time. That's the level of Seviv, like the eagle. She'eina Seichel Magid Masisa. That's not something which the Seichel can grasp, because the Seichel is in time. So, therefore, mitzad the perspective of Seviv Kula Almin, nothing changed because he's beyond the time. He surrounds everything, and every place is equal. The Malachim Elyonim and the Aretz together the same. Amnam Hashinu Bebechinas Mem'alikulam. The change is the level of Mem'alikulam. The Hine Asora Mamoris Nivra Ha'olam. The world was created with the 10 saying. That's the Mem'alikulam. Shenishtal Shulu. Asora Nivra Ha'olam. Shenishtal Shulu. And they evolved. It got from Madrega to Madrega. Mamer Yi'er Vayichen, Yirakia Vayichen. And Vahashinui Umitzad HaMekablim. And the change is now, once it fills the world, is because of the recipient. Ki kol olam masig lipisichloi. Because every world receives according to their intellect. So Memela, mitzad the level of Mem'alikulam. So he says, mitzad Sevikulam, there's no Shinui. Mitzad Mem'alikulam, which evolves into their understanding. So because of that, there is the change. The recipients make the change. So Hashemayim Kisi means El Masilyonim Masigim Yeser Elokus. V'aretz ha'oradim ragloi hem adreges ha'tachtoino she'eina masig koka. V'ayim ha'shekosu b'ariches ha'posik Hashemayim Kisi. It must be the he's referring to the Mamer of Hashemayim Kisi. I think in Torah, the first, in the beginning, Parshas Bereishis. The Ritzoyna Loimar, that over there it says, Shemebchinas Shamayim, Shumakif Elyon, that from the level of Shamayim, which is the supreme Makif, Haseviv Klalmim, Mishom Daikeni Nimshach Liyah Bechinas Kisi. So from there specifically comes the level of Kisi Shumokar Leganein Elyon. From the level of Shamayim, which is the same Kulam, that becomes Kisi, the place where Hashem rests, a Mokir for Gan Eden Elyon. V'ayim ba'etz chaim shar Kisi HaKavod. So, okay, that's what it explains over there. What is the level of Shamayim in this Neshama? That's the level of Yechidah, which is beyond the Seichel, which is the Avodah B'chol Meidecha, which is B'chinas Rotze, level of Rotze. That's called the Shemayim within the Neshama, the level of Yechida of, that's the Shemayim of the Neshama. So that's the level of Shemayim, which is the source of Gan Eden Elyon. B'chinas Eretz. What is the level of Eretz? Eretz Kisi. Zeu hamshocha lamata b'chinas Shuv. That's bringing down in the level of below, from the level of Gan Eden Elyon, or from the level of the source of Chomei Decho, into the level of Shuv. Shemayim is Rotzui, and Oretz is Shuv. This is higher than Seichel, and to bring down from the level of the Yechida into the Seichel, that's the level of Shuv, from the Chomei Decho, not to expire, but to bring it down later on in level of Shuv. Gam yeshleimer be'b'chinas elu l'kiso dev ragloi. So in your mocker base b'chinas, this is level of almond stimin, almond is gali. Another, the hidden and the revealed world of the kisi and the ragloi. Mukosa yuvan, and from all this we understand, Echshebeis b'chinas elu, the Shemayim v'oretz hanal, that these two levels, either way you touch the Shemayim v'oretz exactly, but these two levels, Shayochim, the base beginners, they belong, they're connected to levels of Yisrael, the Yaakov, Hamevuer, the Kama B'Samach. Explain Yisrael and Yaakov. So we understand now that the Shemayim v'oretz, whether it is the Makar of almost still this Galion, whether it's level of Yechida and the Rosh and Shuv, but that's connected to the two levels of Yisrael Yaakov, which he explains. K'ashamayim shu b'chinas Yechida, zo b'chinas Yisrael. Shamayim, which is level Yechida, that is the level of Yisrael. The Yaakov hu b'chinas Naran. Yaakov is level of Nefesh Ruach and Neshama, not Yechida. Mislav shebikedim. So b'chinas v'oretz hadoim. That becomes the level of v'oretz hadoim ragloi. V'oretz hadoim. V'zehu shekosu v'yeshiv Yaakov be'eretz megurei oviv chulu. So v'yeshiv Yaakov, so Yaakov settled basically be'eretz megurei oviv. As written elsewhere, that this is the idea of the Shuv, so that's the return. So he connects the two things of Yaakov and Yisrael, as we'll learn in Mamer now, to the two ideas of Shemayim and Oretz. So Hine, Kemoisha Bechlolus Hachayis, Yesh Beis Bechines, Seviv Kolam and Mal Kolam. Just like in the general energy, vitality that sustains the world, the same Klam Mal Klamim. We already learned it in the parenthesis now. He said the level of Chaya and the level of Naran. But here he's going to say the two names of Yaakov and Yisroel. And this it says, "Vayibra Odom b'tzalmoi, b'tzalam Elokim." So that's two things. Hashem created the man in His image, and the tzalam Elokim. These are the two levels in the Seviv Kulam and Mamal Kulam, which is correspond to the two names. Though in your Beis Abachinas, Yaakov and Yisrael, both the of Yaakov and Yisrael, which would be the Seviv Kulam and Mal Kulam. And that's the B'tzalma and B'tzalam Elokim. So the person has in himself the level of Chaya, the Seviv Kulam, and the nefesh ruach and neshama. And this is b'tzalma malakim. V'ayin ma shekosu me'inyan zeh shebeneshama yesh beis b'chinas ki meisei v'klam malchal almin b'divra maschil tzim b'mishpat tepoda. V'ayin ma shekosu b'divra maschil ki teitzei shezo inyan b'tzalmoi b'tzalam elikim. V'ayin bezer v'yishlach dapku v'aydal alav b'chinas Yisrael, b'chinas Yaakov, zehu ki'inyan, b'chinas Havaya, b'chinas Elikim, the level of Havaya, which is Sefer Klamim, level Elikim, Yechayin, and the Nefesh Ruach Neshama, Nimtza. Shezo inyan b'tzalmoi, that's Shem Havaya, b'tzalam Elikim, that's Shem Leim of Elikim, that's Sefer Klamim, Shu b'chinas Sefer Klamim Al Klam, which is the idea of Sefer Klamim Al Klam. Okay, so what is the two madreges of Yaakov Yisrael? B'chinas Yaakov is Yud Ekev. Yud is Chochma, in Ekev in the heel. Yud Ekev. Who Chochma. Yud Ekev, that is Chochma. And the Hainu Haseichel Mashu Masig Elikus. That is the Seichel that he has, sense godliness. And this is only Ekev. So you understand godliness, but it's only like a heel. And that which it shines and it vitalizes the body in the 240 limbs, Urak Ekev min haneshama. It's only the heel of the soul. It's like the feet of the neshama. So the level of Yaakov is as the oir, the malachal, as it dresses up in the lips. Yisrael, the level of Yisrael, uli rosh. That's the level of li rosh. Spells Yisrael, spells Lirosh. That's the level of the neshama, which is higher than the body and the seichel. There's a part of the neshama, the nefesh neshama, that dresses up in the person. That's the level of Yaakov. But the level of Yisrael, that's the level of the neshama, which stays above, is higher than the guf and seichel. And the level of Yisrael, who echad Yochid umiyuchad, he's one, he's united and one. Im Hashem Yisbarach, with us, blessed Hashem, beli shum pirud b'shum oifen, without any separation, any way they want. So you have the neshama, the way it comes down in the Keil Meram Nefesh Ruach Neshama. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does, sometimes it's connected to Hashem, sometimes not. But the neshama, which is higher than the guf and the seichel, that's always united with Hashem, never separated. I mashikos mezebedivra maschil ulovid the toises biur inyan hashayfor. I mashikosu inyan parsh pirish Yisrael liroish seish parsh shlach bedivra maschil ani the parsha tzitzis. I mashikosu bedivra maschil yonosi. I mashikosu bedivra maschil veschanon gabei at Yisrael shmachulu. Shebchinas Yisrael, Bchinas Yaakov, that when we talk about the level of Yisrael and the level of Yaakov, it's like similar like the sun and the moon. Just like in the sun, there is no change. Sun always shines. In the moon, depending how much light it gets from the sun, depending what time of the month it is. But by the sun shines, no change. So back to the Mamer inside. So he says there is no change in the level of Yisrael. This level exists In every single yid, afilu kal shebekalim, even a light-headed and light. You mashakosu v'tikoris tikoris hanefesh. He talks about there are some people that get cut away, and we say that happens. Machmas, person gets cut away when he does. Because sheikir machmas sheikir avedus chamudish. So it says because the main of the serious offenses, which is chayv krisis, zen nemar al b'chinas Yaakov. That is said on the level of Yaakov. So Ikoris to Koris talks about Yaakov, not about Yisrael, not about the neshama, the way it's connected. Avo b'chinas Yisrael einay nifredis men yisborach b'shemoifim. The level of Yisrael does not separate from him, blessed, under no circumstances. By mashkosu du ramaskol shcheira nikabei b'nei imi nochrubi, du ramaskol b'yem hashmini atzeres, v'inyan ka'ovi v'imi azavon. Now we need to understand the mashkosu. So why do we say Shuva Yisrael ad Hashem Elokecha? Just finished discussing that the level of the neshama of Yisrael is always connected to Hashem. Should have said Shuva Yaakov ad Hashem Elokecha, not Shuva Yisrael. Yisrael is the shame which represents the neshama, which is higher than Seichel. Yisrael machoto. Surprising, what is the sin of Yisrael? It doesn't separate. What does it need tshuva? He explains by saying, Shuva Yisrael ki choshalto b'avinecha. You have stumbled in your sin. When a person stumbles, even though he trips over something small, but then the whole person falls down. Basically, to say, while the level of Yaakov is the level that stumbles, but it drags down also the level of the neshama, the level of Yechidah with it. Derech Moshe, say by example, Adam hanichshel berakloi be'even hakol ktana. A person who stumbles with his foot in a stone, a small bank, so from that his whole body falls. And his head reaches the ground with a big bang. Because the head is higher, he falls from a higher place. Likewise, the person stumbles, even if it's a light sin. I feel a bit of Torah she'efsher lasting, but even if we took such as not wasting time of learning, that you were able to learn Torah a bit mitzvah say, or not wasting a positive mitzvah. He has the ability to give, it doesn't give. And for sure, when a person violates a prohibition, even though it appears to the person that it's a small aved, that would be similar. That the person's foot has been pushed away, but we were standing, he slipped a little bit. Afghan here too, that he stumbled in the above sin, the Hainu. The sin is only the feet of the Shekhinah, the level of Yaakov. It's a small sin, sort of, and he slipped a little bit, but yet, so the level neshama falls to another side, and it doesn't shine in his heel. Doesn't mean that the Yisrael itself gets disconnected. Yisrael is always connected, but it goes to a different place. It's to another side, and it's not mamshich in the day. It's like the levana. When it distances itself from the sun, and the bottom half is dark because it doesn't receive the light of the sun. The Rishoyim are in darkness. And the neshama which is in the body doesn't shine at all, which means that in it does not shine the level of Yisroel, which is the level of the sun. So here the Rebbe explains, while the sin may be a small one, or even the bitla mitzvah sasei, but when you trip, the whole body trips. When you slip, everybody slips. And once you go away, you're missing out. You don't get the Shom anymore. What does it mean? Avoin akeva, the sin of my heels, Yisubeini, they surround me. Pirush. Even though the sin is the level of Yaakov, which is the feet of the heel and the feet of the neshama, the level of Yisro, this causes that also the soivim and the makib of the soul does not shine. So he saws the idea of a noisai of rurosh. I'm bezoyer parshas miketz daf kuf tzadik ches from adalev daf kuf tzadik tes reish amadal. So for that, you need tshuva to bring back the light of Yisrael back to Yaakov, back to the from the Rosh back into the Akev. In the Yaakov, you think Ze Gamke Pirush, Zo Gamke Pirush, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. So over here, we're saying three names: Hashem, Elokeinu, Hashem, Echad. Why do we have three Shemes? This is what the meaning is. We're saying Shema. Shema means listen, understand. Loshin Havona. Understand. What did understand? Yisrael. We're saying understand that Yisrael, who bechinas haneshama hanikra Yisrael. We're talking about the level of the neshama. Shema, understand that Yisrael. And this is what we're over called echad tzorich leimer the neshama. Each one has to say to the neshama, Shema v'hove. Listen and understand. Ato Yisrael, b'chinas haneshama. You Yisrael, the level of the neshama. Havaya is Elokeinu. What is Havaya? Havaya. Shehu pirush. The word Havaya means at one instance. Havaya, this is Hoya. That's why it's all said, mentioned in one name, which is Havaya. Yud Kei Vav Kei D'Shem B'Shema Yisrael Hashem. So that Havaya, which is higher than Seichel, Hu Elokeinu, he is our God, which means Hainu Kocheinu V'Chayuseinu. That's Hashem Elokeinu. The Hashem, the higher than is Kocheinu V'Chayuseinu. There was an Hashem Echad which is Hu Kulochad. And that is all one. The Havaya, which is higher than Seichel, is Elokeinu, and this makes it one Hashem. Kulochad, it's one Hashem. Chinen Neshama Zu Haniklo Yisrael, which means what Hashem Kulochad. This Neshama in this Achet Havaya Baruch Hu. That unites, becomes one with Hashem Baruch Hu. What does he mean to say? Beis Shemesh, let's leave here because I don't think we're going to make it to the end.
Okay.